Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It has been a long time, a year, more than a year, almost 2 seasons since the last upload. Um, but happy to be back. Hopefully this run I'll be uploading more consistently. The format I was doing before with the screenshots and everything, that was just taking way too much time. So this is more of a conversational style where I go through and rate the players and give my thoughts on the match, etc. So hopefully this is more conducive to consistent uploads. So obviously, before the game, or rather, before the first game of the season, we've got to talk about our signings. I got Joshua Zirkzee, striker from Bologna, Lenny Yoro, Nusa Mazraoui, and Matthias de Ligt. Four great signings, in my opinion. The defensive reinforcements we desperately needed. Granted, we still don't have a left back, but Mazraoui is said to be able to play there. And we'll talk about him a bit more later, but he didn't play there. He played right back. But yeah, very excited nonetheless. Very technical players that Eric Ten Hag knows somewhat. Well, Joshua Zirkzee is Dutch, so I'm sure they spoke Dutch. Uh, Lenny Yoro, of course, the injury is very unfortunate, but hopefully he comes back. Great potential, obviously, not that I've seen him a lot, but from what we hear about him, it's just great stuff. And a little bit sad to see Lenny in crutches here, but the new signings went out onto the Old Trafford pitch and was welcomed before the game. Hopefully, we'll get a few more bodies in. Midfielder maybe Ugarte heavily linked. Maybe left back. I don't know. Hopefully, some more business does happen, but pretty happy with the signing so far. So starting lineup, manager, of course, Eric Ten Hag. Starting lineup. The main questions were who was going to start in defense because we got the new boys in, and up front as well actually because Rasmus Højlund's injured. We got the new boys in, and was the Ligt going to start? Was Mesra going to start? Was Xerxes going to start? We didn't know. Goalkeeper Andre Onana, pretty obvious choice. And at the back, this was interesting. So Dallo, left back, Martinez, Maguire, and Mazraoui. And now there's been talk in the media about Mazraoui possibly being able to play left back, which I'm sure he could, but maybe because it's the first game of the season, he hasn't trained with us long. Ten Hag put him in his more natural position, I guess, being able to invert from the right back. And Dallo, of course, last season with all the left back injuries, he deputized for us a lot in that position, so Ten Hag slotted him in there. Midfield three of Casemiro, who, let's face it, didn't have a good season last season. Has a lot to prove. Hopefully he can, turn it up a notch, go back to 2022, 2023 Casemiro. Kobe Manu, a star boy, fresh back from the Euros. What a player he is. Mason Mount gets a start. Of course, injury-riddled season last season. Hopefully he can show us what he's all about. In the front three, Ten Hag went with Rashford, Fernandes, and Ahmad. Now, people thought that Garnacho, because he scored against Man City, may have started ahead of Ahmad, but Ahmad had a great preseason, so I think it was right to start him. Bruno Fernandes in the false nine role, which he's played before, namely against City in the FA Cup and the Community Shield. Rashford on the left. Now, we know he had a down season last season, to say the least. I really hope he can, go back to the form of 2 seasons ago where he scored, 30 goals. I mean, that's the Marcus we love seeing, but we haven't seen him lately. Hopefully this season is a turning point for him. And here are the subs. We got De Ligt on the bench. People thought he might start, but he didn't. Maguire started ahead of him, which wasn't a bad choice, I have to say, considering how the game played out, which we'll talk about. We have Xerxes also on the bench. Ten Hag said he might not be ready to start, so that was more expected, I guess. Garnacho on the bench that we talked about. Toby Collier, who we expect to come through on the bench, and the rest are familiar faces like McTominay, Ericsson, Anthony, Johnny Evans, etc. So Bruno led us out onto the pitch, and my overall thoughts on the game was that we played quite well. One thing that really jumped out was our pressing. Fulham were a little bit comfortable, I think, in the first half, or at least the first half of the first half, but then our press really turned up, and they were forced to go long pretty much for the rest of the game, I thought. So that was really encouraging. And our star boy Mazraoui made a big impact from the beginning, which we'll talk about more about him specifically as we go into the player ratings, but I thought he adapted really well. Generally, we had a lot of control of the ball, a lot of possession, um, and we actually created quite a number of chances. And I think our XG was something like 2.7 goals or something, which we only scored one from that, so it's appalling finishing. But considering the general play, I thought we did quite well against Fulham. Apart from several counterattacks that we conceded, Fulham didn't really have any clear-cut chances, if I can remember correctly. Onana had to make a couple of saves, but they weren't, inside the box, expected to finish kind of chances. They did have a massive break opportunity, which this man stopped. Yeah, the 2-on-1 break. I have no idea how Harry managed to intercept that ball there, because I thought we were for sure dead. It was more of a terrible pass by their player more than anything, but he was there to sweep up. So, this is a system that I'll be working with this season. I'm going to give the game rating. Well, I'm going to give the game a game rating. Right, so it's going to be out of 5 stars, increments of 0.25 stars. So obviously 2.5 stars is the average, and depending on the strength of the opposition, the competition, etc., then I'll adjust the score accordingly. So we're going to win, 1-0 win in the Premier League. Performance was pretty good. Wasn't scintillating. We didn't put 4 or 5 past them. We would just put 1, but 3 points is all we needed. First game of the season, all things considered, I think it was a positive performance, to be honest. It's not like we didn't create any chances. If our finishing was better, we could have ended up with 2-3 goals. So I'm not too displeased. I think for this game, I'm going to give it a 3.25 stars out of 5 for this game. Now to player ratings. So, how my player rating system is going to work is, obviously football is a team game. So, and we saw the game rating before, I think every player, obviously, contributes to the game rating. So what the base of everyone's score will be is the game rating itself. So, Onana, since the game rating was 3.25, he won't have a score of like 2.5 unless he played really, really badly. And he won't have a score of 5 unless he played really, really well compared to the rest of the team, right? It's like an outlier sort of performance. So let's start with Onana anyway. So I'll give him 3.25 stars, which is the same as the game rating. I didn't think he did particularly well. I didn't think he did really badly. There were a couple of saves he had to make. I actually thought his kicking was quite poor. In the second half especially, we went long a lot of times, and for some reason he kept kicking out of bounds, more than I ever remember him doing. So he had a bad performance in that sense, but goalkeeping wise, yeah, he was okay. Average performance. So average performance with his team rating, then Onana gets the same rating as the game rating, if that makes any sense. Next, Dalot. I thought he was a little bit shaky in his passing as well, especially, but made a couple of challenges. Didn't notice him too much in the game, but putting a shift at left back, I'll go with the average 3.25 star. Next, Lisandro Martinez. Look, I love me some Licha, some Butcher, okay, but this was not one of his better performances. I have to say, he made a lot of mistakes with his passing as well. Now that I think about it, there's a bit of a theme going on. And he got absolutely skinned, along with Dalot, by Adama Traore. Now, he did recover on that, and he did bully him, and there's a famous quote from him now, where he said, I sent him to the gym, and we know how freaking big Traore is. But overall, yes, he defended well, but I think his passing was so uncharacteristic that for him, it was a below par performance. So I'm going to give him 3 stars. Remember, 3.25 stars is what the game rating was, so I think compared to the rest of the team, he performed a little bit below. Now, unlike Martinez, I thought Harry Maguire was excellent. Now, I don't know how much longer we're going to rely on Harry for, but when called upon, he's been there. Like last season, he was very reliable as well and solid. And as our now like 4th choice centre back, 3rd choice maybe with Bioro out, he's definitely going to be serviceable. And when he plays well, he does play well. He wins everything in the air, which he did in this game, and made that crucial interception on that 2-on-1 break, where he just, stuck a foot out. I don't know how. I don't know if you've seen a screenshot of that. I don't know how he stopped that. I thought it was for sure going to be through on goal and a goal conceded, but Harry Maguire somehow managed to stop it. It was a very assured performance. A leader at the back, never causes any troubles. I'm going to give him a 3.5 stars out of 5. So I think he did a little bit better than the rest of his teammates. Now Mazraoui, speaking of players who performed really well, I wasn't sure what to expect. I hadn't seen too much of him. Of course, we do the highlight research and everything. But Mazraoui came in and just got stuck in right away. Fulham had the ball in the box. I think they're about to... Yeah, there was a chance where they did a cutback, I think, and someone was about to shoot, and Mazraoui came in, just slide tackling in the box. Of course, that's not always the best thing to do, but that was timed perfectly, didn't lead to a shot, and just started off with a bang, and he just kept going. Very assured on the ball, inverting in from midfield into from right back into midfield. It was very tidy in possession. His little touches and little turns to avoid pressure was very impressive. And he didn't slow down in the second half either. With his passing, yes, some were misplaced, but the ideas were good. The defensive thing was always there. There was possession where they were attacking down our left-hand side. And there was another cutback where Mazraoui read the situation and just bolted from right back all the way to the penalty spot, I think, to get a block in or to get an interception. So, the game awareness was really good. And considering it's his first game, I'm very, very pleased. 15 mil, what a bargain. I'm going to give this player 3 3/4 stars. Casemiro, again, we talked a little bit about it before. We need a really big bounce back performance from him. He's on way too much money. He's way too experienced to be playing like he did last season. And, at the start of the game, I thought it didn't start well. Let's just say that. Misplaced passes. I'm getting bypassed in midfield way too easily. When he sprints, it looks like he's jogging. And when he jogs, it looks like he's jogging. I don't know why he doesn't have that second gear. I guess that's what everyone says. That's why everyone says he's lost his legs, But yeah, I thought it was rough to a really bad start for him. But then he got into the game. He got more and more into the game. His passing became a little bit better. Defensively, he didn't get bypassed as much. He held his position much better, intercepted when needed. Pushed up at times, but maybe not nearly as much. He played a beautiful through ball for a Bruno run that should have resulted in a goal. That was beautiful. I don't even know how he saw that. It was like a De Bruyne-esque pass from outside the box towards the penalty spot-ish, and then Bruno was coming in on a diagonal run from the other side. He should have really finished it, but that was a great pass there. All in all, I think he did okay, considering how bad the first 30 minutes I thought were. For the rest of the game, he did quite well. So I'm going to give him the average 3 1/4 stars. Next, Kobbie Mainoo. Not too noticeable in this game. He didn't get forward too much. He's kind of being used as that link player between the midfield and the attack, and he was in that little center circle zone for most of the game. Didn't see too much of his flashy dribbling, but what I was impressed by was his defensive prowess. Now, the only question about Kobbie Mainoo right now is his physical development, which it seems like he's taking a step, and his defensive robustness. Alright? We know how technical he is on the ball, how he can find a pass, he can dribble past anybody, great close control, but the thing is, can he perform in a very hectic Premier League midfield for years and years to come? And I think he kind of showed that today, where he made a lot of interceptions and just cut out a few passes and made some challenges that I thought were very impressive, that I hope to see more of in his game, let's just say that. And considering how impressed I was by his defense, which wasn't expected, I'm going to give him a 3.5 stars out of 5. Next is Mason Mount. Wasn't too noticeable, I would say, except he was part of that front two with him and Bruno, the brilliant pressing that we had. So I was very impressed by that. But individually, maybe not so much. Didn't have too many moments, but he always keeps things ticking along. Nice, neat and tidy. Works hard for the team. He was in ones where he was at a tight angle that he shot that he maybe should have scored from, but I don't really blame him for that one. Yeah, another player with something to prove. I'm not sure when everyone's healthy how he's going to get in the team, because assuming Bruno's going to play the 10, Mount, I don't know, does he get in on the wings? Is he going to play an 8? Well, it can't be Mainoo, Mount and Bruno in the midfield. That just won't work. So maybe he'll be a bench player this season. But anyway, coming back from an injury, it was an encouraging performance. 3 1/4 stars. Next is Marcus Rashford. Look, we didn't notice that much of Rashford, especially in the first half. The second half, he came alive a little bit more. I don't think he got on the ball as much this game as your typical Marcus Rashford game. But what I really appreciated was the attitude. A lot of the criticism from last season was how he was sulking on the pitch, or seemingly sulking. Didn't had a frown on his face. Not that you have to smile every time you play, but he was really running for the team, I thought. But this, I was impressed by the entire team's pressing, but Marcus as well, because he's not really known for that. But I thought he ran hard for the team. There were some instances where, yeah, he let the fullback go, or he didn't track the winger or help out the fullback, our fullback. But overall, I think he had an okay game. Okay game. We know he can turn it on, but this was not one of those. But okay game. 3.25 stars for me. Next, we come to our captain, Bruno Fernandes. Well, I think he played quite well. Of course, his finishing left a lot to be desired. Could have had 2 goals, maybe 3. But of course, he's a focal hub for everything good about Manchester United. In the second half, where he did that little flick with the ball to get past the winger, and where he let the ball run like an Mbappe turn. Like, he has these moments in him that are just unmatched, creativity wise. Pressing, very impressive. He never stops running, Bruno. So I thought he had a game that was left to be desired, but yeah, I think he played well enough to give him the average score of 3.25. Next is Ahmad. Now, Ahmad had a great preseason. Everyone was expecting a lot from him this game. Maybe didn't get the touches that he would have liked. Whenever he got the ball, he looked very assured. His ball control is very, very good. Probably better than any winger we have, really, in terms of close control, zigging in and out of spaces. But he didn't get the ball too much in the final third to do anything with. Didn't impress. Didn't let us down. I thought he had a solid performance before he got substituted. 3.25 stars. So next is subs. Next are the subs. So how the subs are going to work is, so obviously the game score was 3.25, and obviously I can't give the subs 3.25 because they didn't play all of the game. So what I'm going to do for substitutes is probably take 1/4 of a star off, because they're still part of the team, I guess. And then depending on their performance, maybe add or subtract from that, because it's hard for substitutes to get noticed if they play 15, 20, even 30 minutes a game. So I was talking about De Ligt. Very excited to see him come on. He's our player. I'm sure he'll be starting games in the very near future, but this game, didn't notice him. I actually can't remember anything he did, to be honest. I remember once him going for a second ball and then just being bypassed, but maybe that was just me hating. Yeah, I want to see more from him, of course. Start games. I want to see what his passing is about, what his recovery pace is about, because there's a lot of opinions online about him being slower than Maguire, or that he's rapid. I'm sure it's somewhere in between, but excited to see more of him, so just 3 stars. Now, Garnacho. He's a player who could have had 4 stars, could have had 2 stars. That game was wild. He gave the ball away, I think, a couple of times. One led to a really dangerous Fulham fast break. I think it might have been the one that led to Maguire. The Maguire incident, let's say. Maybe not, I'm not sure. But he definitely gave away the ball after our free kick, and then they broke on us, which was really bad. The miss at the end where Marcus squirted for him. Yes, the pass was a little bit behind him, but he should really do better. Maybe even take a touch. He had time, so that was shocking. But of course, he set up Xerxes for the winner with the cross, so you can't take anything away from him for that. It was just a really mixed bag, I thought. And when he came on, he did kind of change the game. Like, we started to go long a lot more in the second half. I don't know if it was by design or it's because of the personnel we had, or I'm not sure. So he was impactful in negative and positive ways. So I think I'm just going to give him a 3-star right now. Think about it, maybe a little bit harsh since he got the winning assist, but it is what it is. Scott McTominay came on when I was watching on TV. Thought he scored the goal. Like, McSauce at it again, but not to be. didn't notice him too much otherwise, so I just give him 3. Now our man of the moment, our debutant, our new signing, our Netherlands player from the Netherlands, Joshua Zirkzee. What a way to introduce yourself. I heard some stat where he had 5 touches, and then touch 6 was getting the ball to play it out wide, and touch 7 was him getting into the box and applying the finish. So however long he was on the pitch for, I didn't notice him at all apart from his goal moment, which is the biggest moment of the game. But yeah, he came on, 7 touches, goal. I mean, that's all you can ask from a striker. And we got exactly what we were hoping for from Zirkzee. Because, I mean, he described himself as a 9.5 striker, not a traditional 9, not a 10, kind of like a false 9. And that's exactly what he did. Like, he dropped off the defensive line to receive the ball in acres of space towards the end of the game. I don't know, the game was stretched, so maybe the space thing was just coincidental, but he comes off the defenders, receives the ball, turns, passes it out wide. And we're going to see this a lot. His late runs in the box. It's kind of like what McTominay is so good at. Late runs in the box. And I guess that's why they were both in the same place. But late run into the box, Garnacho across his left foot toe poke, and that was definitely deliberate. People are saying, oh, was that an accident? No. The deft touch it needed to score. Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. So I'll give him 3.5. 3.5. So half a star more than the other substitutes. Johnny Evans came on. I think he made 1 good interception from what I remember, but otherwise, solid at the back. Like, when he doesn't have to run towards our own goal, he's quite solid, Johnny Evans. Passing, pretty good. In the air, pretty good. Like, just a decent centre-back that we shouldn't be relying on game after game. It's just, because of his age and everything. But for him to come in and do a job, yeah, I thought it was okay. 3 stars. Man of the match. Well, if we've been keeping track of the stars, it's pretty obvious who it's going to be, and it is, for me anyway, our man, Noose Mazraoui. I thought he had a fantastic game, considering it was the first game that he played for us, joining for a joining for a cheap-ass fee, 15 million. Yeah, I mean, already I think he's worth that, just from this performance alone. And no, let's not get carried away, but very assured, a very different profile from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, which, thank you, Aaron, for your services, but I think he's the kind of player that we need more. And yeah, I'm just very happy that he's part of our team, and for him to have not just going forward, he didn't have too many creative actions, but he had a lot of defensive actions, which I was, a little bit worried about. Could he fill Aaron Wan-Bissaka's shoes in that respect? Because, 1v1 defending, Aaron, there's no one better. Not that he had many 1v1 situations today, or in this game, but yeah, team defending wise, his reading of the game was excellent. I thought he had an excellent game. Let's hope there's more to come of that. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this new format, new type of content, and I hope to bring you consistent uploads in the future. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave any comments. Who do you think your man of the match was? Do you agree, disagree? Who do you think could have performed better? Who do you think did really well that I didn't mention? And until next time, peace.